the vantage point from which you should look at the issue of legalization, from which you should look at the issue of drug policy, the first vantage point is our children. Because, as I said before, our research shows that if you can get that kid through age 21 without smoking, without using illegal drugs, without abusing alcohol, that kid is virtually certain to be home free for the rest of his or her life. There'll be exceptions, parents that lose a child to some awful tragedy, but basically that's where it's at. So when you put that vantage point as your foundation, then you say, okay, what is going to help us get those kids through? One thing that's going to help us get them through is making these substances less available to them. And legalization will make the substances more available to them.
Just think of how many people you know yourself, personally, who've ever used an illegal drug. And then, as they grew older, put that drug behind them and gone on to have a perfectly happy and healthy and productive life. You can do that if you haven't been arrested. We have a saying at L.E.A.P. You can get over an addiction, you will never get over a conviction. That's because a conviction is on a computer. You can move to another state, you can even move to another country, it doesn't matter. Every time you go for a job, that new employer, prospective employer, will look at that drug conviction and say, hey, druggie, we don't want you. No, we don't want you. The only place you are wanted is right back in the drug culture, the very group we say we're trying to save you from.
The alternative for our sort of out-of-control prohibition approach is what I call management of the problem. Management means that we used all the tools that are available to us to minimize the harms. We use the tools of public health, of public education, of law, of regulation, taxation, licensing, to reduce crime, reduce disease, reduce overdose, even reduce use, reduce risky use, improper use. But all of this is done with the recognition that there will be users and that they're going to have access. And that's what I mean by managing the drug problem, to reduce all the harms and all the costs.
Well, I'm excited about seeing the drug problem as a public health problem and saying that we need to develop smart, effective, affordable strategies to discourage drug use and to get help to the people who are afflicted by it so that they can become and stay drug-free. Very interested in identifying those kind of policies. I don't think they have to be draconian. I don't think they have to be extreme. I don't think we need long sentences in prison. But I think we need a criminal justice system that is tough, has clear standards and expectations, and supervision of people in the community. And I think when we do that, we're going to empty out our prisons and we're going to reduce our drug use. And I think treatment programs can also get a lot smarter than they are now. One of the problems now is that they have a revolving door. They get too many people coming and going all the time. So the average in this country is 14 periods of treatment, 14 episodes of care in a course of treatment. Nobody thinks 14 contacts with a treatment program is an effective treatment for drugs. We've got to improve our treatment. We've got to improve our law enforcement. And there's lots of ways to do that that are humane and effective.
In fact, the very first case of a prohibition that we have any knowledge of started with these words: "Do not eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil." Location, a little place called Eden. How many people had to be watched? 2. How many trees of knowledge were there? 1. And who was the cop for that prohibition? The big guy. Now that one should have worked, right? Only 2 people had to be watched, only 1 tree of knowledge, and the all-seeing eye is the cop. Why didn't it work? It's interesting when I say that, why didn't it work? Sometimes people say the serpent. Nah, the serpent didn't have anything to do with it. The reason why it didn't work lies with the Creator. Because if you read that story in Genesis, it says that after the Creator created, the Creator granted something to the creation. And that was called free will. The right to choose whether or not they ate from the tree. And even though we, in many societies across this planet, have tried to legislate away that Creator-given gift, free will, it still exists today. And the reason why prohibition didn't work in the Garden of Eden is because the people involved chose not to follow it. And the reason why prohibition doesn't work today is because the people involved choose not to follow it. Whether the government threatens them with life or not makes no difference. It is a free choice of the individuals involved.